What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. And reserved for the best is super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at 6th_element_comics. Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop. Yo, what's good, sixth element of hip hop? I'm your host, Reno Noir, and this is my co-host, Stu Dog, in the building. We got some special guests tonight. What's good, Fat T and Al Mega in the building so far.
What up? Giving that big whip, baby. Happy to be on the sixth element of hip hop once again, baby. Thank you for having me.
Yo, always welcome, bro. Always welcome. Fat T was like, I'm out of here. Fuck this.
You said that Puerto Rican too loud. God damn.
I have returned.
The prodigal son hath returned. Y'all, hey, we got a few more people may be popping in and out tonight, so it should be a party. We'll see. This is what I'm talking about right now. Slade's talking about he was in the Bronx last night, and guess what he was doing? I don't want to know. But I bet it has something to do with hip hop.
Well, if it was in the Bronx, I hope it wasn't anything violent. You know, and I know my New York, man. And if you're in the Bronx, there's nothing to be proud of.
At least
I'm only playing to my Bronx people. Much love.
Nah, we know where hip hop began. It had its roots, just like my thumbnail says, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, right there. In that building right there was one of the first ever, historically known as the first ever hip hop party, park jam, thrown by, and most people think it was thrown by DJ Kool Herc, right? And he was definitely the DJ at the party that night. He definitely rocked it. It's definitely DJ Kool Herc that gave us the music, but it was Cindy Campbell. There was a woman named Cindy Campbell at the time that set it all up, promoted it, you know what I'm saying, got it all, put it together, got Kool Herc and set him up and all of that. So yeah, it was actually Cindy Campbell. We got to give props to the woman that started hip hop, Diamond Onyx. Salute.
So the mama, hip hop's mama, baby. Woo!
That's right.
Much love.
That's right. Yes, sir. Mother of hip hop. It's crazy, and that's that's something I didn't even know until recently, because we were always told it was Kool Herc. Everybody just knew of it being DJ Kool Herc. Kool Herc did the party and all of that, but and he'll tell you himself, like he's not the one perpetuating that either. He'll tell you to your face. It was definitely Cindy that put me on. I've seen him say it, so it's definitely official. But what's today? Today is the 12th. So on yesterday, 50 years ago, hip hop was born right in New York City, right there in the Bronx. The celebration basically led up to a massive concert last night, Slade, at Yankee Stadium, featuring some of the biggest stars of the genre. It's a big birthday bash. In the very borough where hip hop was born. Superstars on the bill was like Run DMC, Fat Joe, Remy Ma, Sugar Hill, these type of and for the concert to actually happen, it had to take place at Yankee Stadium, according to Amadeus, the multi-platform hip-hop producer, Bronx native. He actually said it's definitely going down. It's going to be very, very monumental night in music, very monumental night in hip-hop, a very monumental night in the Bronx, very monumental night in New York, period. And damn it, I was here in Virginia. I did miss it, but I wish I could have been there.
Who told you to move to Virginia, bro? That's your fault.
I can't blame nobody but myself. But hey, the things we do for love, right? The lines to get up inside the stadium lasted well into the night, bro. People traveled from, obviously all over the world. Fuck the country. People came from the globe to check this out. Because hip hop is a global phenomenon. I mean, there's no question about it. Hip hop, when we were kids, even it was just a music genre, a niche thing. They called it a fad, right? It would just be a fad, something that would come and go in the age. You remember that shit?
Or if grew up in a certain era, there was considered a certain people's music, but and said with with malintent, like, wow, bro, what are you trying to say? Oh, I hate
Right.
that. Like now you giving this music, oh no, I just hate it. I mean, I'll say it, the way they used to say, especially, unfortunately, those that came from the islands that weren't aware of the culture. They'd be like, so música de negro. Oh, that's black people music. Why are you listening to that? I'm like, that's beyond that. Like, do you even know how Latinos were even also involved in its creation? Like, stop being assholes.
Thank you. Absolutely, bro. Stu Dog.
What's up?
Chime in.
All right, music. I got you. Hip hop is listen, I remember back in the day, I remember news programs saying it was gonna fizzle out in a year. Breakdancing wasn't gonna last. Hip hop wasn't gonna last. It was just a cultural thing, like clothing, like it would be done in a year. But a year later, it was still kicking. 2 years later, it was still pop. 3 years later, it was growing. 4 years later, our parents was dancing to it. 5 and beyond, and it's just been history in the making. I really remember those days because you had a lot of people that was just against hip hop and what it stood for, man. Like they only wanted one kind of music. That was it. And like Al said, it was like, oh, that's black people music. But hip hop was for everybody, man. I mean, the Beastie Boys, who were one of the first official rap, like, cause we had underground rap, we had underground rappers, and we had underground rap groups. Like, we had people that was doing their own, and New York had their own scene, period, point blank, when it came to hip hop. So the Beastie Boys was like one of the first organized rap groups that was signed to a label that got paid, and they were white.
A major label,
all of them.
A major label,
yeah, a major label,
right?
And they were white, and so you can't. Right there, they even kicked down doors for, to prove that hip hop was not was for everybody, yeah. And then then you had like the music just evolved, the rhyme styles evolved, the MCs evolved. Like it seemed like every year somebody came out that was more different than the last year, because it ain't like today where the music like today the music industry is winning. They're getting they're getting what they want. They want everybody to sound the same. They want everybody to act the same. They want everybody to do, because that's less of a risk that they have to take. Because back in the day, you had these big cigar chomping guys, and hip hop is what you would call experimental music. These big cigar chomping guys, you take your album to them, they'd be like, you know what? I don't know what it is. You know what it is? I don't know. You know what? Put it out. Let's see what it does. And then, next thing you know, this thing is like, it's off the charts. But now you got these young, hip, tight clothes wearing execs who swear they know everything about music. And they say, well, we're not going to do that. That don't sound. Grap said it best. He said, I hung around my brother so long that I only had an ear for his music. I didn't have an ear for anything else. And that's what happened now. They made these tight pants, young execs that's so hip. These yuppie jokers, they only have an ear for one sound. And that's all we're getting. We're only getting
what it is, Stu, you hit it on the money. You know what it is? We no longer have any more Rick Rubins in the world. We only have one at that time that was a pioneer again, and also another white guy that helped.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, and he too is white, right? And he is white, I believe. And so, it was, and it was just dope, because at the time we didn't care. At the time we didn't care. I mean, you had white DJs.
Thank you.
Yeah, we didn't care. We had Hispanic DJs. We had Hispanic rappers. We didn't give a damn what color you was, as long as you put out dope music. We didn't care what your nationality was, as long as you put out dope music.
that comment right there is absolutely 150% correct. You know, because when you said before hip hop and the genre, no. Hip hop is not a genre. Rap is the genre.
Rap is a genre.
Culture.
Hip hop is what you do. Yeah, hip hop is the culture.
It's what we live. So when we say hip hop, you know, we got it's like you said. I think we definitely in this conversation should differentiate between the culture of hip hop and the musical style that derived of it, which is rap.
Right. Yeah. Because it started, you know, this we're talking about the hip hop, you know, we're talking about the 50th anniversary of the culture of hip hop, the party culture, the whole culture, b-boys, all of that, not just rap music, like you said, you know, that's an element. You know, we talk about the 5 elements, we talk about this is the element of hip hop all the time. You got the element
b-boy,
your b-boy
is still a thing. Yeah.
You got your
graffiti, graffiti and b-boy is still a thing. That's still a thing. B-boys dress a certain way. They walk it. They don't wear tight clothes. B-boys don't. I just need y'all to know that B-boys don't wear tight clothes. They don't wear tight pants. They don't sag their pants. They don't do none of that. Their stuff is always fresh. Their clothes is always fresh and laying. Their clothes are always fresh as laying. You know what I mean? Al probably had creases sewn in his pants. You know what I mean? When he was coming up.
You got the Adidas
windbreaker.
Man, you wear your you wear your windbreaker suits, you wear your track suits, your sweatpants, all of that, man, your sneakers. That's all part of hip. That's all part of b-boying. That's hip hop.
Hip hop.
But the rap.
And I want
the music that we created, it's monumental, man. It's
global.
You know, it's global, bro. Like I've heard dudes rapping French. I've heard dudes rapping Japanese. Chinese, I heard dudes.
That's the basic shit. Rapping Indian in Bangladeshi or whatever.
Yeah, like
matter of fact,
crazy island shit.
Jim Me. He rapping German. Sugar rapping German.
Oh, that must sound so angry.
Jim Me.
Yeah, Jim Me. But you got all of that. Yeah, you got all of that, man. And the way it comes out, like what's his name? Crime Apple just put out an album called Sin Qatar. It's all in Spanish, and it's definitely hip hop. Like it's hard hip hop too. It's called Sin Qatar. Sin SIN. I think it's I think Qatar doesn't Qatar mean something like unfinished, something like that, or Qatar.
Well, I gotta see it, bro, because again, you know, unfortunately, things get lost in translation.
Yeah,
yeah. You know, I mean,
he's a Latino rapper, Crime Apple. He's Latino and white, isn't he? Or he just white? He's Latino.
I think he's
Latino, but he got
Puerto Rican. He's from New Jersey. Yeah, he's from New Jersey. I think he's he might be Dominican or something. He's mixed with something. I know he's Dominican. He's mixed with something.
As we converse about the music, I do have a question for you guys. I was raised in New York, you know what I mean, and I was in there, you know, living the culture from beginning, seeing the change. Where did you guys particularly grow up, and how was the hip hop, you know, evolution, if you will, in your hoods?
That's the question I always ask, Al. That's what that's the question I like to ask.
We moved around. Fatty.
I could respond to that, man. I'm from the Bay Area, and honestly, most of my neighborhood was like really mixed with a lot of different cultures and stuff. And one of my best friends, his brother, wanted to be like a DJ, but he started off with rap music and hip hop stuff, and he learned how to scratch, and he had all the turntables set up, and I mean that's what he wanted to do with his life. I mean, I don't know, so when he got older, what happened, because we moved away a little bit later. But dude, we used to bust out the cardboard on the corners, and we had breakdancing contests and shit, dude. And and here I am, this Italian dude breakdancing against the Latino kids in the neighborhood and the black kids in the neighborhood and the Chinese kids in the neighborhood. I mean, we were just on the corners, and somebody would bust out with the beatbox and stuff, and it was all about who had the biggest beatbox.
Boombox.
I just remember it was just fun. You know what I mean? There wasn't any judgment or anything like that. We had like breakdancing competitions at like our church and stuff. So it was something that, at least in my area, it started kind of sinking into the community. It wasn't as perhaps maybe as negative, maybe some other areas or what have you. My parents supported it, and that's what I grew up with. I mean, wasn't until later on that I got into rock music and stuff like that. I like everything now, but yeah, that's kind of like what it was to me. I mean, breakdancing, the movie Breakdancing, and Run DMC, some of the first people that I got into, and especially NWA and all of that. It just really had impact.
That's it right there. That's it right there, Omega.
NWA, man.
Yeah, that's the Bay Area is had a big scene. The Bay Area, like in LA and stuff, like they'll tell you, they looked up to New York and everything that New York was doing in hip hop. There was no East Coast West Coast rivalry or none of that back then. It was just hip hop. For me in the South, living in the South. See, I grew up in a weird area in Florida. So Florida is kind of like another borough of New York. Like everybody like in the coast is all from New York. Like everybody's from New York. My whole family is from New York, Queens, Brooklyn. And I grew up in Florida, and even in an all black neighborhood, it was still, the scene was still very different from New York. It was still, a very like, because Florida had our own sort of music. They had booty shake music and Miami bass and Luther Campbell and all of that was huge down there. But the hip hop scene was still, everybody, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Kool Moe Dee, all of that stuff was still, what everybody was into. But we had like the rec center, that's one thing I really remember really stands out. Yeah, that's what really stands out for me in the 80s, like my introduction to this is hip hop. Like this is the culture. This is where the breakdancing is going on. This is where the, what I'm saying, people are, rapping and the DJ booth is set up and all of that. And it's the rec center. That was just like the, what do you call it? The Mecca, the source of where everything spawned out of in the 80s. And then of course, that hip hop scene that started in the Bronx, that hip hop party scene, that's kind of what we're talking about, that was born in 73, sort of dies out when gangster rap hits, NWA, all of that, and then the Chronic and Snoop and all of that stuff, West Coast, all of that kind of changes it. In our area, the scene becomes, because again, it's Florida, it's not New York, it's not LA, it's Florida. So we have an amalgamation. It's a melting pot. So it becomes a very West Coast-esque vibe in that time. You know what I mean? Gang banging, all of that shit. That's that whole thing. And then, but my shit was always still Nas, Wu-Tang, Biggie. I was still always very New York because, that's just where that's where I'm from. That's my family. That's just, but yeah, the scene was legit though. In Florida, it was definitely always around. And having family, in New York and shit like that, having a very, good ear to the ground kind of thing. Cousins and stuff always sending me tapes and all of that. Like I was up on shit before a lot of people, because of my New York connection. But as we know, the actual birthplace of hip hop was in the Bronx, and that was at a rec room, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. I guess, what I'm saying, the rec room was like the core. I think the rec room was like really the birthplace of where you go to be hip hop. You know what I mean? And this was August 11th, 1973. You can see the flyer. DJ Kool Herc and his sister Cindy Campbell threw the party. spun some records. And Cindy Campbell quotes says she said, "I said, Herc, you're going to be the DJ. Here's all the music and the records and everything." Okay, Cindy gave him the records to play. Kool Herc said, he said, "Music ain't no color. If it's good, I'm going to play it. No matter what, I'm going to play it." From Public Enemy to Jay-Z, you know what I'm saying? Public, Salt and Pepper, Cardi B. Over the next 5 decades, we have, this genre becomes this global phenomenon, and artists, reaching the top, of the music charts and staying there, fanning out, owning the music charts. You know what I'm saying? Business, sports, bro, advertising, you name it. It's films, movies, video games, every medium, comics. The sixth element of hip hop is comic books. You know what I'm saying? Comic books was there from the gate, from 1973. Comic books were there. You know what I'm saying? And influences from comic books. MCs making their names based on comic book characters and shit like that.
And dressing, even, because remember they had a funky style back then too, which is
way
different than what now. They were looking like ghetto superheroes back then, son.
Bro, spikes.
I mean, I don't know. I want to see Stu rock out some bell bottoms with big heels and the big star glasses. Stu, if you could do that, bro, you should have done that. I might today, bro.
I might have to break him out. All right,
I gotta break out the family tree, yo.
Look, I thought Reno was looking for his high heels. Hey, Ed
Pisker. Yeah, the homie Ed Pisker, man. He made he just dropped the omnibus. Okay, so right now you can get the hip hop. Yes, bro. I already pre-ordered it. I had to. It's the hardcover. I already pre-ordered it.
But I really want to get those individual issues so bad. I got those, but I mean the OGs when he dropped those. You know how hard those are to get? I mean, no one talks about that. Everybody wants to talk about the superhero comics. They talk about hip hop comics.
Yeah,
those are hard to get.
Yeah, they are. They are hard to get. Yeah,
a lot of hip hop comics are. Because back in the day, even Wu-Tang stepped into it. With Black Mask and doing comic books with a hip hop soundtrack.
Big Love, Starsky, myself.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I grew up in New Jersey. Where we in the middle of Philly and New York. So you had the hip hop scene that came out of Philadelphia. You know what I mean? And then you had the hip hop scene that came out of New York that trickled down. And then it kind of like meshed when it got in New Jersey. So like New Jersey, people in North Jersey, they're like New Yorkers, and people in South Jersey, they like, man, take it, man. That's a hot video. That's a hot song. It's all in Spanish too, but it's hot. I got that album. That album singing, it's in Spanish, but it's hot.
Mambo.
It's a super hot album. Yeah, that's a hot video. That's a hot album.
I mean,
like DJ Muggs, DJ.
Manteca is fat, right? Isn't it fat?
Manteca. Yeah. Well, it's two things. Wait. It's two things. Manteca is fat, but Manteca is also slang term for drugs, heroin.
Okay.
Yeah. What is it? Heroin? So he said what? Mambo? Yeah, because it's what? It says Manteca Mambo.
Yeah, that's that heroin mambo right there. That's what
I'm in Central Jersey. I'm in Central Jersey, raw deal. So the guys up in North Jersey,
New Jersey Drive.
Hey, raw
I got a lot of family. I got a lot of family from North Raw Talk.
Yeah, Raw Talk, man. If you want to hop on, shoot me your email in the DM.
Yeah, man. Jersey was just a melting pot for all of that, man. And New Jersey is like a good example of how hip hop affected all races, because Jersey's really mixed, believe it or not. You got your little white neighborhoods, black neighborhoods here and there, Italian, but it's mostly but everybody mixes on the social scene in New Jersey. And so that's where, you might hear somebody, that didn't listen to hip hop. Now they around Al Mega. He from the shore area. And they're like, what's that you listening to? I'll be like, oh, this is Run DMC. Now everybody listening to Run DMC. So that's what it was for us, man. We basically we did everything everybody did, man. We break dance because it came straight out of anything comes out of New York trickles all the way down to Jersey. Anything, whatever style, whatever haircut, whatever, it all comes to it trickles right down to New Jersey immediately. And same thing with Philly, but Philly y'all gotta understand one thing about Philadelphia. Philadelphia had their own hip hop. It was hip hop, but they had their own scene entirely. About how they got down, but they was always well respected. Yeah, they had their own sound and everything.
Let me say, I actually had the honor of going to a hip hop documentary here in Worcester, Massachusetts, about the Worcester hip hop scene and how people confuse Worcester for Boston. So a lot of these rappers that were Boston are actually from Worcester, and it's interesting how Worcester, Boston was like Bronx, Queens battling back in the day. And what even made me laugh more, hip hop was brought to Worcester, Massachusetts by Puerto Ricans from the Bronx. They just brought the music and the style with the mixtapes back in the day. And these kids were out here like, what the hell is this? What are you bringing me? This is, way back in the day, early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. So these Puerto Rican kids were coming back with the chains, the New York stilo in Massachusetts. It was hilarious, but it was funny how that evolved. And so kids that I didn't mean to be a dick in the theater, but they were like, oh yeah, hip hop was popping here. I'll say you're not from that. Being from New York, none of us ever heard of none of you guys, but you heard of us from New York.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah,
not trying to diss the community.
Nah,
the guys just look at me. They laugh, but they say, you know what? That shit is true.
Yeah, you're right, because what's your name was from Massachusetts. We had LOG and the Bulldogs, Esoteric, and all them, that Czarface, that whole crew except for Inspector Deck. They from Massachusetts.
Because look at the weird ass
Guru.
You can't even pronounce that shit. Woonsock and stuff like that. That's what everybody says Boston. Easy to pronounce it, and y'all thought everybody was Boston. Boston is just a pinhole of a city. Come on now.
Can I put something out there real quick, Bruno?
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you something too, but yeah, go ahead.
One of the things that had a big impact on me, because honestly, I didn't have, like, the kid I was telling you about who was really doing wanted to be the DJ and started doing all the scratching and all that stuff. And one of the albums that came out was Rumors. And I mean, that was a huge album at that time. I just remember that. And so I got all my music through him, because it wasn't really on the radio as much. But what seemed to start to carry the music, like I was kind of talking about, was the movie industry. So when breakdancing came out, but there was another movie, and for the life of me, I can't remember it. I want to say it had the word orange in it or something like that. But there was a song in it, a rap song that was so damn funny called All You Can Eat. And
was it the Fat Boys?
Well, no, the Fat Boys.
That's the Fat Boys. That's the Fat Boys. That's Disorderlies.
Disorderlies, right.
Disorderlies, but All You Can Eat, I don't think All You Can Eat was in it was in Crush Groove. But I don't think they did. They didn't perform it. They didn't perform it in Disorderlies. But they performed it in Crush Groove.
Are you sure that song? I swear that song was in the movie. It
was in the movie Crush Groove. Remember they came out the pizza place? They came walking up the stairs and they ate all the pizza, they ate all the food, and the guy chased them out. Yeah, that's Crush Groove.
But I love that movie.
I'm sending you the link right now. Yeah,
Crush Groove is, I mean, to me, that's what it kind of exploded us even more onto the scene within breakdancing. I mean, that is an iconic film, and I don't know how many people talk about it or whatever.
Yeah, it's huge.
I'm just talking about from a kid standpoint, that stuff that you remember that had that kind of musical impact or whatever, things that you know, it becomes part of your life, and you go, man, look at the kind of clothes they're wearing, the shoes, and just the way that the swag and all that kind of stuff I got from that.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was a great film that represented that time.
Right. Crush Groove, bro, is that's one of the main, that's like one of the fucking tomes, right, of hip hop, bro. That's one of the
that's one of the biggest rap. rap movies in the history of hip hop.
Yeah.
For real.
I remember Tougher Than Leather.
Yeah, Run DMC.
Tougher Than Leather was just a bugged out movie. That movie, that was bugged out, man. It's entertaining to watch. It really is. But it's part of hip hop. But it's real entertaining to watch, man.
Yeah.
They were some serious tough guys in that movie, boy.
That's why he became a reverend after that shit. He couldn't,
Yeah. You had to. You had to after watching that. Don't forget about Beat Street and Breaking. Beat Street 2 just didn't do it for me. Breaking 2 didn't do it.
Oh, Breaking 2.
Breaking 2. Beat Street was my shot.
Yeah.
Out of all those, Beat Street was my shot, man. I liked that movie, man.
Bro.
That was like when we watched that. When I was a kid, we watched that, man. We was like, damn, like that really got us like. That got us good, man, because that's when you started seeing how big hip hop was. And remember rapping? Remember they had the movie Rapping with Mario Van Peebles?
Yeah,
Mario Van Peebles.
Sure.
Oh man,
bro, hold on. Let me.
Oh my God.
Raw Talk, welcome to the show. Peace.
Thank you. Peace,
hey,
fellas.
Raw Talk. What's up, bro?
Come on down. All right.
Raw Talk, real dad. What's up, baby?
Chilling, into this discussion, broke out the flicks.
Oh my God, Star Wars. Holy smokes.
What up? What do you let me get Crush Groove.
I got that. I got Beat Street.
Wild Style.
I don't have Wild Style. Wild Style is one I gotta get. I don't have Wild Style.
Yeah, man.
I got them all.
Remember Busy B was on the bed with the money and the girl was like, what you doing, Busy? He's like, I'm making the B with my name, baby. That's my name, Busy B.
We need to get Busy B on the show. Man, Busy B. Fronting, man. Busy. Come on, Busy. What's the deal, man? Come on, Busy.
Busy ain't gonna come on, man. I love Busy, man. I wish he would come on, but I know Busy ain't gonna do it.
Everything runs off of hip hop, man. The life of it, the way of life of it,
Right.
We got designers, fashion designers. It wouldn't be any real fly fashion designers without hip hop.
Right.
That's true.
That's the fifth element, right?
True.
Yeah.
Fifth element.
Yeah. You wouldn't have fly dances. You wouldn't. The culture, just the way people are talking now, the mannerisms. It's all hip hop.
All hip hop, bro. Thank you.
That's true.
Thank you for bringing that up because like it's within. It's so ingrained, man, within just daily fucking culture, man, daily life. You don't even have to be in hip hop, and you don't even realize the shit that you like. I mean, look at the term bling bling. Lil Wayne starts this term that is now old white women say this word. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of shit. Bro, it's crazy, man.
Look at the YouTuber Mr. Beast. My son pointed this out. We were shopping. He's like, yeah, Mr. Beast came out with a candy bar. It's called These Nuts. And I'm like, looked at him. I was like, wow. I remember bringing that. I'm bringing that in the Chronic album. I'm like,
Snoop Dogg right there. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg,
crazy, so it's beautiful, man.
Permeated. I wanted to bust this little thing out. This shit look kind of funny. Let's see what we got. Let's see what they say. We got the timeline of hip hop's development, right? So 1973, August 11th, Clive. It says Kool Herc DJ Campbell, Kool Herc Campbell DJs back to school party. Organized by his sister Cindy Campbell at the Rec Room at 1520 Cedric Avenue in the Bronx. And this event is widely considered to be the beginning of hip hop culture. Before we bust on to the next one, why do y'all think that they say this is where hip hop started?
Because nobody really knows. Because nobody really knows, but that's the only one they can remember. Remember, we ain't write nothing down there. We ain't documenting nothing.
Thank you.
No one knew it was gonna be what it was either.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Nobody holding on to the flyers and shit.
Yeah. Like one saving grace we got is Ralph McDaniels, who definitively said he has every episode of Video Music Box on VHS. He just has to get them converted. He said, I got to get them converted. He said, but I got him. He said, I saved him. I got him. I saved him. I just gotta get him converted. And somebody, we gotta put some money together, man, and do something.
Bro.
And get that put on Blu-ray or something, man.
Put it in the
Whatever we gotta do, cause
theaters, you know.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah, bro. We gotta do something, man. So we could do a documentary on that, man.
Well, they did a
he was everywhere
already. They've done one, but it's a matter of salvaging that, you know, that data. I mean, that's hip hop history. You got to put that in a digital format.
That is,
and make sure that for the future. I grew up on that. After school, I got to put that shit up on the public network. I mean, watching the latest videos and whatnot. You know, my parents complaining, but I'm like, yo, it's only half hour. Leave me alone.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, man. You know, they gotta be white gloved, fucking handling the VHS tapes hella carefully and shit. Bro, them shit, that's the archive right there. So that, but this, okay, so this goes back 1973, which is hella, bro. 1973. People don't really realize that's way before the 80s. That's way before Run DMC. Way before anything.
That's 10 years. That's 10 years before Run DMC.
You
I
feel
was
me?
only a year old.
That was 2 years before Mega, baby.
I was a year old. I was a year old. I was a year old then.
Here's when I was born. The next step is when I was born. 1979. I'm born. Longtime R&B star and producer Sylvia Robinson launches Sugar Hill Records with her husband Joe. She discovers their first act in New Jersey.
Sugar Hill.
A triple,
Sugar Hill gang.
Wonder Mike, Big Bang Bang,
the Pow Boogie.
I want to find. I think it's this one. I'm not sure, but shout out to Ed Pisker again with the Hip Hop Family Tree. This is basically a comic book that gives you the history of hip hop, breaks it down in fucking detail. That is brilliant. It's like he was there talking to the people, getting actual quotes. It's really dope, and he breaks down how Sugar Hill Gang basically bit those raps. In fact, those raps were not even, you know, they didn't even write them.
Yeah. Cass wrote those jokes.
Cass, thank you.
Big Bang Hank's verse actually was written by Grandmaster Cass, because he says, I'm the CAS. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. The CAS. Yeah.
Cass.
He breaks his whole name down. I'm like, it's crazy.
I'm like, yeah, bro, exactly. But so, and they branded the Sugar Hill Gang, the gang's first single, Rapper's Delight, is the first rap on wax that goes mainstream and sells millions of copies. We can at least say that. Becomes the first global rap hit.
Yeah, because the Fatback Band was actually, I believe, the first rappers on wax. Yeah.
Well, and then it's like, you know, I mean, do you count guys that were rapping back in the 50s and 40s on shit, because it existed, you know?
Well, we can say one thing. We can say, my grandfather used to always say, "There's nothing new under the sun."
Right.
So we can say that much.
Indeed.
But we can just say we evolved it in this era right here. So
because breakdancing, all those floor moves and all of that, they got a African tribal. That shit is all legit, like original man type shit.
And you're showing us 1973 as the first party, but something that acknowledged as the first hip hop or first rap song. Pigmeat Markham, 1968. Here comes
That's what I was talking. That's what I was talking about. Pigmeat Markham, shit like that.
1968, dude.
68.
I mean, first labeled as rap.
Right. And he literally rapped. There was no question that was a rap song. Like, he's rapping on that beat. There's no question. I mean, it's not. Yeah. Like, so, you know what? And again, that's not hip hop. It's rap. It's a rap. So they took that style of, you know, expression, and that became part of the culture. 1982, co-written by Duke, Booty, and Melly Mel, and produced by Clifton Jiggs, Chase, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five. And we talk about Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five being
Grandmaster Flash,
an element of hip hop, right? The Flash, right? The Furious Five, the Fantastic Four. You know what I'm saying? That's the same kind of inspiration. They do the message, right? And that I think is the first song where we get storytelling, like news from the street kind of, you know, rap, where it's not just about a party or just or what did they say, becomes the turning point in the genre. Booty and Melly Mel stark descriptions of the poverty signal to fans and critics that hip hop is capable of more than just party music. Right. White Lines, all of that came out. Let's see, 1984, Russell Simmons Rush Management organizes Fresh Fest, the groundbreaking arena tour featuring hip-hop acts like Run DMC, Houdini, Curtis Blow, and the Fat Boys, Nucleus, as well as B-Boy crews as the Dynamic Breakers. Held during the next 2 years, it signifies hip-hop's growth and popularity. Okay. I mean, I don't know who wrote this. I mean, I guess this is the Grammys. This is not like Six Elements opinions or anything like that. Don't come at me. We just reading this shit for fun. 1986, after bringing Fatboy Chaos as an opening act on Madonna's Virgin tour, Def Jam understudies the Beastie Boys collaborate with producer Rick Rubin on License to Ill, spawning the hit single Fight for Your Right. The album is certified diamond in 2015. And we talked about Beastie Boys and Rick Rubin a little bit ago. Caucasian influences. 1987, thanks to the remix by late DJ producer Cameron Paul, rap Real Salt and Pepper, get teens everywhere twerking and worry parents and school administrators with the electro bass hit Push It. I remember Push It. So remember, I'm born in 79. So 87, I'm in like 3rd grade. Push It. I remember being on like the school bus with the Walkman hiding, you know what I'm saying? Like you had to hide to listen to Push It, bro. Like if you got caught, you know what I'm saying? Your parents whip your ass listening to Push It. When you were a kid, I promise you, in 3rd grade. I mean,
they thought it was something else instead of Push It. They thought it was saying something else.
Man, shit. Even if they knew what it said, they was Marshall Warpath, man. Shout out to the homie.
That was for me, the Supreme Team show. That's the Supreme Team show. That was a famous radio show, the Supreme Team show. Yeah, with the Buffalo, 3 Buffalo girls going Romeo side. I got that album, the greatest hits of I joined, and it's dope.
That's called 3 Buffalo Gals.
You got to take your hat off to
that. Yeah, but I wonder. So my man Marshall Warpath is
the name of the song is.
No, but he Native Americans too. So I'm wondering, does this have anything to do with Native Americans being called Buffalo Gals? That's what I'm trying to find out. Marshall, let me know.
Well, one of the
Buffalo, I don't know. Probably slang or something. Probably because they had big booties.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you say? What you say?
One of the things that they don't have in here that actually was a major push and really brought rapping and the hip hop culture into the limelight was the remake of with Run DMC and Aerosmith.
That's what I thought you were gonna say, and I'm saying you're right. Walk This Way is not up here.
Walk This Way.
Yeah, so that's not up here. That should definitely be up here.
And then we're talking about breaking.
But I'm gonna keep it
all
because that made it that was the first mainstream crossover hit.
That was the famous mainstream crossover rap song. Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm gonna take it a step further. We don't talk about like modern day rap stuff that everybody in this chat listens to and grew up on, was started by one album, and that was Run DMC. That came out in 1983.
Yeah.
When that album came out, when you heard "Here We Go" and all of that, that's when we first really started. That's when we really started going crazy. Because we can talk about who came out was first. None of that matters. If Run DMC didn't make that album, none of this would exist right now. If Rick Rubin, Run, DMC, and all them, yeah, they broke back because their style of hip hop was just utterly different than what. Because you got to remember, we listened to a lot of techno beats. We had a lot of techno beats, a lot of synthesizers. We were breakdancing to that. And people would come on and rap a little bit to it. Guy might come on and do maybe 8-10 bars on it, and then the beat would go on. It was all about the beat. Run DMC made it about the rap. I don't care what nobody say. When they came out with "Here We Go" and they came out with Jay's Game and all of that, that's what made us all fall in love with rap.
With lyrics.
Yeah. When we heard that live, when they did that live at the Fillmore, whatever they did, Al, you probably was at that concert when they did that.
Oh God, I don't know. My parents don't let me out when that happened.
Young boy.
Yeah, but only these whiteheads fool you,
because
I don't dye them. I ain't that old now. Come on now.
The gray.
Now Run DMC's their first album. Yeah, we don't. Nobody talks about their first album. Nobody wants to get them. You got to get them credit, man, because when you break down what they did, it was phenomenal.
Why they put the white group?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, damn.
That's what I was going to say.
On Grammy, yo, it kind of fucked up.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That's why I said this is the Grammy article. We not
Grammys totally different. They just, you know.
Say that again, bro. I didn't hear you.
I just said the Grammys is just messed up. Period. You know, they don't have any real knowledge of hip hop and the culture. They just use what they need to.
I'll be right back, guys.
Like that.
Thank you.
It's very corporate, industrial.
Yep.
Even if you talk about Billboard, when they had Outkast as the top group of all time, and you know, really, come on, it's Wu-Tang all day, every day.
All day, son.
You know, so it's like
no question.
You already know what it's done for. It's just controversy now with the internet and these
it's like it's like Rolling Stone with the stupid ass top hip hop list, and they got some of the ridiculous shit in the count, man. It's just like who clearly, you know, this is not someone who knows the culture that made this list. And this list here is just like I said, we just fucking off. They said 1988 Public Enemy released their second album. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, reportedly featuring over 100 samples and focused on Chuck D and Flavor Flav and Professor Griff's revolutionary lyrics, often cited as one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. You know, of course,
it was there. It was. I disagree, and not in a bad way, like you might think. It's their greatest album of all time, Public Enemy. That was their. But even for me, that's not their best album. Their best album was Fear of a Black Planet. That was the best album Public Enemy put out, hands down to date. I don't care what nobody said. That album there.
They said it's often cited as one of the greatest hip hop.
That might be I would if you because you got a better representation of Public Enemy than their first album. Their second album though. That was their second album. Yeah. Their third album is the one that opened everybody's eye.
The one that really hit.
Planet. That's their biggest album.
One? And again, that whole summer when they dropped, you know, Don't Believe the Hype, that was banging everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I listened to that joint 100 million times that summer.
What about
that going down? Can't trust it. The system, you're like, oh,
the power. What was that group? Oh man, the power. You know, I've got the power.
Oh, you talking about no, you talking about Snap.
Marky Mark or something?
Snap.
No, Snap. That's Snap.
Oh.
But remember it was controversy with that. Remember the controversy with that. Remember that was Snap. Remember the dude Chill Rob G. Remember he had the same song, same beat and everything. And they had like a little they had a little fight over that.
But that was another one that is right in that critical moment as well.
Where it changed, where the music changed.
The politics and all of that was happening at the time, and trying to put the focus on what was happening in LA and everything.
Yeah, because if you listen to the first words of Rob G's song was "Don't change this, don't change that, change the lyrics. Everybody's a critic. It's getting kind of hectic." He was right back then, because they was telling her you can't say this, you can't say that. You know, it was telling rappers you can't say this, you can't say that. Change this,
what did you say?
I was saying also NWA in '88. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They changed a lot. You know,
well, that's what they say right here. 1988, thanks to the lyrics criticizing law enforcement, depicting raw life in Compton, California, and NWA sparked national controversy with their influential second album, Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton, the crazy mother. That was the pivotal point that turned rap into gangster rap from then on out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then
because you got
the whole
and then 91 New Jack City comes.
Because you gotta remember Raw Deal, the West Coast didn't have a sound. They was emulating what they heard on the East Coast, and it wasn't working for them. NWA is actually where hip hop started. Modern day hip hop started for the West Coast because they just said, "Fuck," start rapping the way they rapped the way they wanted to rap. They was like, "Look, we can't rap like New York because we don't go to parties, but we know about gangbanging. We know about this. We know what's up in the streets, in these LA streets," and that's what they rapped about. And it took off, man, because you got to remember, like KRS said in rap, you got to have style and you got to learn to be original, and that's what NWA did. They came out with something original.
But they related to their culture, to their area. People in LA were like, "Oh, I know that shit.
I get that, right? I get that."
They talking about New York, I don't really get sometimes, but this shit, I get it.
Well, the shit in New York, they liked it and they listened to it.
They just didn't.
But you're right, they couldn't relate to it because they didn't party like that out there. There was no fever.
Yeah. There's no coats and jackets and Timbs and all of that. Like
Timbs and all. Nah.
We also had Spoonie G out here too.
Spoonie G.
Yeah.
So we
6 in the morning, police at my door.
And Ice-T, he's from Ice-T. He's from.
But now check it. I just seen an interview with Ice-T. He said if it wasn't for Spoonie G, he would have never made his hit record 6 in the morning. Yeah. He said if you listen, if you listen to me rhyme, I'm biting Spoonie G. He said I'm trying to make it sound like the way he did it, but he said it just came out the way it came out with that West Coast.
People always say,
what the hell does that mean? Yeah, he's 6 in the morning, police at my door. He said he actually straight up admitted to it. He said I was biting. He said, but it worked.
Yeah.
He said, but I was just trying to do what he did.
Yep. So 1991, this is when rock and roll starts to really mesh a little bit with hip hop, and we start to get a little bit of things.
Now, I agree with that, because because in 84, Run DMC was already doing it with Rockbox. All that. Their music was heavily rock influenced, and so was the Beastie Boys. They came out way before 91. And LL's first and second album was heavily rock influenced.
But I think
for sure. But I'm talking about them actually doing rock and roll music, right? Cop Killer. He's doing actual heavy metal and rapping over it. That's what I'm talking about. You had Anthrax and stuff. What'd you say, Chester? Raw Talk. I'm sorry, Raw Talk. You were next. What did you say, bro?
I was just saying that's when the rock acts really gravitated more so to the hip hop and saying, hey,
rock was coming.
Because we all got
a lot of them
anger and suburbia.
Right.
We all got problems. So let's put it together and make it pop.
But you gotta remember them same rock groups. Guess what they grew up listening to? Run DMC, Beastie Boys, Curtis Blow, Public Enemy. So they might have made rock music, just like you got rappers that listen to rock. You had rockers that listen to rap. Like look at Chavo. Just remember, Chavo and RZA just bonded together to make a group called A Chosen and put out some dope music. We never, it's hard for us to get, but it's out there.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Yeah.
And he's the drummer for System of a Down. I mean, come on.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. And that shit crazy. That music crazy. They go hard as fuck. 1993, Wu-Tang Clan releases End of the Wu-Tang. And I'm sorry, 36 Chambers, bro. This shit changes the fucking game.
That does change the game. That changed the game. That changed the game significantly. Literally, East Coast. That changed the game for the East Coast because on the East Coast, we were fizzling out. Yeah. And the rappers that came out in the 80s, they were getting older. They get a lot more mature. They weren't raw anymore. You know
West Coast
the albums they were putting out.
Like shit from New York.
Right.
And
the West Coast really took over.
Like, I like ODB. Like they liked ODB and shit.
Yeah. So when Wu-Tang came out, they put the East Coast back on the map. They actually carried the East Coast on their back. For real, for about a good 10 years.
93 has more classic albums in that year.
Bro.
They do.
I had Mobb Deep coming out. You had
Mobb Deep, Tribe Quest, Biggie, Nas, Craig Mack. Craig Mack dropped the dope album. Man. Keith Murray. Remember Keith Murray dropped the most beautifulest thing in this world. That was hot. Like that. Redman dropped the album. Eric Sermon dropped. Remember Eric Sermon dropped the hot album. Yeah. Green Eyes. When we dropped Green Eyes, then that man, listen, you're right. It was a lot of dope hip hop. Oh, don't
With
forget,
9
you from
members.
Jersey. You from Jersey. Don't forget the Flavor Crew. Don't forget Flavor Unit.
Yeah, and them Tretch.
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, don't forget the Flavor Unit. It was rocking.
Yeah. I know about that whole era. You go into the Fugees after that.
Yeah. And you know the crazy part? The Fugees, people love the Fugees, bro. And I mean, they want the Fugees to get back together.
Bro.
Yeah, we fuck with it. Yeah, we all did.
That album was bananas, bro. I love
Fugees.
that shit.
Yeah,
that shit
was
a whole. That shit almost made me change my whole style, bro. Like I swear to God, I was like, I'm Haitian. I like this Haitian shit, bro. What they on, bro? This shit.
I had the pleasure to rock on stage,
burning incense
them,
and shit.
Man, I had the pleasure to rock on stage with them at a college show, and it was
dope,
man. I mean, the way they put it down, it's like no other feeling. Them and the Roots were dope too. Jumped on stage with
the Roots is another. The Roots is another deeply. They are deeply embedded in the hip hop. Yeah. Like you can't have a conversation about hip hop and can't say Roots and can't put the Roots in there because
that's Philly, right?
That's Philly. Yeah, they coming straight now. What was next? 93 was next. What 94? What was next?
Yeah, so 93 they said with 9 members led by the rapper producer RZA, highly unique Staten Island based collective spawned dozens of solo albums and affiliated acts over so that's how they changed the game. When I say they changed the game literally business wise, they're the first group to, first of all, be 9 members deep, and second of all, for each of those members to be, set up with their own record deals, their own, what I'm saying, they can get a spin off and do their own shit, written into the contracts. And that was the first time it was ever written into a contract like that. Shout out to Steve Rifkin, all of that. 96, Naughty by Nature is the first Grammy Award for Best Rap Album with their third album, Poverty's Paradise, 1995.
I thought it was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Nah, Fresh Prince said, what did they say? Yeah, they did say something about him. He said 89. They said
they did win a Grammy. I think. Didn't they win a Grammy for Parents Just Understand? One of them songs he did.
Yeah, they won the first hip hop Grammy award for Best Rap Performance for Parents Just Understand. Yeah. And Naughty by Nature got the first Best Rap Album.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember
that was that album. Wasn't it that album with Here We Go Now? Here we go. Here we flow. Here we go now. Hear me flow. Yeah. That was a commercially successful album for them jokers. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here we go now, Harley. If you hear me, come and
but you got they saw you now. Raw talk. You now you from Jersey. That's all you heard that summer when that came out.
Oh yeah.
And when they dropped that first album, Poverty's Paradise, that's all you heard in New Jersey.
Grill, knuckle up, all that stuff, man.
Yeah, guard your grill, no. That was my that album right there was my shot right there.
Rest in peace to the homie Patchy. He came out with Gangsta
Patchy, Gangsta Bitch. Yeah, I want a Gangsta Bitch.
And Fam and them.
Don't forget Lakim Shabazz. Nobody talks about Lakim Shabazz.
What?
Nobody talks about Lakim
Why?
Shabazz. Oh, we don't know, bro. But he was dope. He
has the best breath control I've ever seen.
Yes.
Like
stunning lyricist, bro.
Yeah. Remember Twin Hype? They was out of Newark.
Yeah.
It was out of Newark.
Oh yeah, I used to live up the block.
A lot of people don't remember them. Oh yeah. Yeah, that joint do it to the crowd.
Barbershop. I'm like, yo. Yeah, man. I used to bounce around. So I was born in Newark, raised in Staten Island. Then I moved back and forth after my mom passing, back and forth between Newark, Irvington, East Orange, all that stuff. So I was always in the mix. So at different points in time, I met up with some of these rappers, even Do It All in them, Redman, like interactions with these guys different times, So it's just like fun. And
I met Wu. I met the Wu. I chill with the Wu, bro. I smoke blunts with them cats. Yeah, in Tampa. Yeah, in Tampa, Florida. I opened up
Power. I did business with Power and stuff like that.
Power, yep.
Family, and my older brother knows meth and all of them. So it's just like it's wild. The separation is weird,
It is, bro. It is, bro.
Was a fun time, man. I used to go into
Matter of fact,
in Washington Square Park and battle people and stuff like that. You know.
yo, I still keep the VIP laminate from 2000 from the Woo show.
Dope.
I mean, the after party and all that. My man was working security.
Okay.
I go out. We watched the show. Me and my wife and shit. We leaving out of after the show, and the crowd's leaving out, and I see like a guy with security or staff was written on his shirt, and he's kind of blocking the crowd, and you can see the Woo. They run out the back of the thing and hop in the van, and all of that. And he's blocking the crowd and all of that, and he turned around. I'm like, he looked familiar though, babe. Hold on. He turned around. I'm like, yo. He turned around. He go, Reno. I said, yeah, Prince, that's you. He said, baby, what's up? So I come over. He's like, yo, follow us to the after party. We're gonna chill with the Woo, smoking shit and all. I'm like, yeah, bro, come on, bro. They're not gonna let me in there and shit. He's like, bro, and he took the fucking laminate off, put it on my neck. He said, follow me to the after party. Listen to what I'm telling you, bro. And we rode in there, bro. It was the fucking best night of my life.
Dope.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know you got wild stories, yo. Cats is wild, man. It's just out there.
Yeah. I mean, the 5%, community in St. Pete where I'm from is deep, real deep. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's how we get down. But yeah, man. Where we at? 1996. Here we go to West Coast again after dominating most of 96 with the fourth album, Diamond Certified Double album, All Eyes on Me. Tupac is killed in Vegas. Unsolved Murder, one of the greatest rappers of all time, remains a watershed moment in the culture. I mean, yeah, and then 97, Biggie dies. That's just that changes hip hop in my opinion. I think it does. I think it really does.
It did. It had a profound. It had a profound negative effect on because
very
we love
negative,
Biggie, man. And Biggie was actually pushing. I'm gonna be honest with you.
The music
this
became
is true.
shitty, bro.
People
became whack.
I heard an artist say this one time. People will kill you for your catalog or certain things that you do in music. And Biggie was actually pushing the music in a direction that was making it stronger. That was making it more because Biggie he actually changed the game, man. He changed the game a lot, man. And he overshadowed a lot of people for somebody that came out like he did. Yeah, he overshadowed a lot of people, man.
When he was co-business partner with and they created the Undies label, and he was supposed to separate from Bad Boy because he wanted a bigger share of the pie.
Right.
And that's what I believe caused a lot of friction and a lot of things start happening and stuff like that,
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to think about, man.
Yeah.
How certain cats might have been involved.
I was shedding tears on both deaths, man. That shit hurt me. That hurt me. Like my first Biggie joint party and bullshit. That was like that. To my fucking prom. Straight up. Right. I was like, yo, pumping him all the time. I'm like, damn. And then he comes out with this joint. And I'm like, in college, when he dropped Ready to Die, I was like, yo, this dude is fantastic. Hands down, lyrically fantastic.
Amazing, man. Amazing.
And Biggie was very versatile too, man. Like,
he's one of the illest lyricists, man. He the first. Yeah. I mean, he the first one I ever saw like rapping backwards, bro. Like the way he break. I mean, this if you write rhymes, you can understand what I'm talking about. Like the way the punchline come out, and he'll say that shit first, and then tell you the fucking story. Like it's crazy, man. It's hard to explain, but you know what I'm talking about. But speaking of lyricism and lyrics, Black Heroes Club wanted us to touch more on Will Smith, Fresh Prince, all of that. Hip hop in a hip hop light. None of this recent shit. But back in the day, bro, Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, bro, that shit was dope. I don't give a fuck what nobody say, bro.
Will Smith can freestyle off the top.
Bro, Will Smith is a rapper. Bro. He is an MC.
Yeah.
Don't front. Yeah. Like he is an MC. Like, and he gets respect. Like in the circle of real hip hop MCs, Will Smith gets respect as an MC.
And a pioneer to whereas he didn't have to do all the vulgar language and things of that nature to get a point across.
Exactly.
He was needed. And he was definitely needed for hip hop and still needed if he get his stuff together, But
right.
Jazzy, remember? I don't know if y'all, you might be too young. Remember when Jazzy Jeff they did a concert down in Philly. It was big. I forget what it was called.
Fresh Fest.
And the Fresh Fest, yeah. And
Yeah.
he had his beatbox there. And what was his name? Rock Ray C. And he did the Sanford and Son beat. And then remember he was like, now do it underwater. He did the joint underwater. And you gotta remember back then, they were hip hop. I don't care what you say about them now. Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince was hardcore. It was all the way hip hop.
Yeah.
And like you said, Fresh Prince could freestyle. He probably keeping it. Will Smith could probably still freestyle his ass off now. To be honest with you,
Hell
he
yeah.
was a dope.
Oh,
he
he
was
can.
a dope lyricist. Like he
He
was
can.
really a dope lyricist, bro. People don't really want to give him credit, but he was dope.
And Black Girls Club, to what you're saying, man. In your area, he doesn't get counted, and he said, and I understand that because like he don't really get counted in the street. Like he's not gonna get counted in the hood. When I say he gets respect amongst writers. You understand? Like real hip hop lyricists will give Smith respect, but you're not gonna hear, he on the corner and ain't nobody gonna be talking about Will Smith. That's probably what that you mean. But yeah, I mean, you can't front, you can't deny he is a pioneer. He did start, he is one of the and DJ Jazzy Jeff to this day one of the illest to ever touch the turntable, bro. You can't even front on that on DJ Jazzy Jeff.
And now dope producer as well.
Exactly.
Talking about Will Smith, when the song "Summertime" came out, that song
they thought he was Rakim.
That song stayed literally #1 for like 5 to 6 months. I mean, you could not stop hearing that song, and it was more unsilly than the Parents Just Don't Understand song. It was a little more like on the serious edge of the real life, like in LA and stuff. So when you look at the at the video and all that stuff, I probably give him a little more credit. I think maybe because he didn't do the cussing and all that stuff, he's a little more kind of like whitewashed and stuff, and so people didn't want to associate kind of like with what he was doing. Like he's not one of the people that's really suffering out here in the streets. He looks too clean and stuff like that. But that's really unfortunate because I mean, he changed a lot of things, man. I mean, he kind of smoothed some things over and once again turned I think the eyes back on hip hop when it kind of got hit with with Tupac and Biggie and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. With Will Smith in real, his professional career, he was squeaky clean, but on the back end, he ran with some goons.
Right.
He really ran with some goons and in
West Philadelphia.
Not lying. With him sounding like Rakim, and Rakim already came out like, that was a tone. He wanted the laid back tone, and who's the laid back tone guy? That's Rakim.
Exactly.
And it's funny to Fat T's point. He was squeaky clean, and you remember all the Grammys. Speaking of Grammys, you would see Eazy-E sitting there, and he 5 years in a row, I believe, he was up for a Grammy for radio, and would be beat out by Will Smith.
Yep.
And it was weird. I was like, why is he still here? This song is like over 4 years old. In the Grammy, I always see it, and it was just amazing. But yeah, and you're out there in the Bay. Come on, we got to give it up to Too Short. We got to get it up.
Exactly.
A lot of cats out there too doing it big.
Broad Bass.
Yep.
What's his name? Yes. And then you got
E40 in them. From
the Slangwistics.
He from Vallejo, but yeah, man, that whole area, bro, has a dope scene, bro. A dope scene.
Yeah. It's just everywhere, man.
Mm-hmm.
So much of it is just like, man, I got a whole collection that's crazy just because I want to listen to everything.
Hell yeah, bro. I'm mad eclectic, bro. I fuck with all kinds of shit. But yeah, the rest of this is mainly like more modern shit. I don't really consider it like creating the culture at this point. But what they said, 98, after scoring multi-platinum hits with the Fugees, Lauryn Hill strikes on her own with the Miseducation. That was a fire ass album. I don't give a fuck. Diamond certified, earned several Grammy awards, including Album of the Year. And that's big, bro. This is where hip hop is again transcending barriers, proving motherfuckers wrong, not a fad, crossing over all of that shit, make legitimate. And pure hip hop. 1999, Dre releases 2001, cementing his legacy as the most influential rap producers ever. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the time where everybody was like, oh yeah, Dre is that fucking that dude. Producer wise, like yeah, Dre beat like top of the fucking food chain at that time. And then in 2001,
but you gotta remember, I remember where Dre came from with that, man. Dre had a lot of inspiration for that album, man. That pushed him to make that album as dope as it was. Because remember, him and Suge fell out. NWA was no more. Easy passed away. Ice Cube was doing his thing.
Had guys like Eminem and Jay-Z writing bars for him.
And then you gotta give Battle Cat and DJ Quick some props too, because they were definitely in the background putting in that work.
Be right back.
Oh yeah,
Dre put everything on his back and made it happen, bro.
Yeah, I remember he went to the East Coast with the firm. He was dealing with that, and then he tried to do something with Rock. Yeah, that was a dope album. And then he tried to do something.
Said that they had a lot of, Rakim said they had a lot of creative differences.
Yeah,
like he said, I wasn't into the gangster rap. Rakim said I ain't into that, and that's what Dre wanted from him. And Rakim said I can't do that, man. That ain't me. Which he was right. He was right for doing.
Yeah,
because you got to think about it. When you think about artists, I don't care who they are, they do like maybe one or two things really well. That's why they artists. That's why they great. But when you break down certain artists, like producers like Dre, they do everything well. In order, you know what I mean? And they're versatile. Biggie Smalls, same thing. Biggie did everything well. He was very versatile, and he did everything well. Biggie could make you feel good. He can make you feel sad. He can make you think about something. You can be like, damn, I just think about that. Like Biggie was real versatile, and he was big, and he was fat. And like he said, I'm ugly, but he did it well.
Yeah.
But he did, like he said, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Gucci down to the socks, rings and watch filled with rocks. Like you be like, damn, who's Heavy D? Ain't never said that. Chubb Rock ain't never said. Yeah, and there was some big brothers, but Biggie, he told you before we even seen who he was. He told you, look, heartthrob, never black and ugly as ever. Biggie and Dre was like, because when you talk about producers, we only got Premier wise. You got Dre, you got Muggs, you got Apollo Brown, RZA, Primo. Who else?
Large Professor.
You know what I mean?
Rock.
Rock. Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot, man. You got
Jermaine Dupri. Yeah, I mean, you go down south, you got Jermaine Dupri. Don't forget, you got Swizz House. You got DJ Will.
DJ Toomp. He did a lot of the Outcast stuff with the with those cats down there.
Toomp, yeah.
I didn't know he was from New York.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I never knew that.
Can I throw something at you guys real quick? Just a question.
Yeah, sure.
One of the things that I noticed as time went on from the beginning of hip hop, and then which has all these elements, but the music itself, not the rapping, but the beats, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was a point, you guys know, and where people started putting huge sound systems in their cars. And it was all about the bass sound that would vibrate the shit out of the car. And you could hear that shit from 5 blocks away and where is that coming from?
That comes from the South. That's from the Dirty. That comes from the South. That's from Miami bass. That starts down here.
So what I'm asking is the bass increase in the music came at a certain point, and it was great. That was my favorite shit is when that started to hit in. There was
you mean like around like the Hot Boys and Master P and all that time, that era?
It's hard for me to know like the names of the people, but all I know is the bass in the music.
I know what he's saying. Yeah,
they got to that. Yeah, they got back to
because you feel that like that bass and that rhythm.
Feel this.
That music got soul. Yeah, that's like right now the music has no soul.
It doesn't feel like it. That's my point. Where did that?
It feels dead.
Where did that start to change? Like it started and it hung on for a while, and then it started to leave.
I'll say about 2010. I'll say about 2010, 2009.
I honestly don't believe it left. It's what's marketed now. I think it's
right. It's what's mainstream.
Yeah, it's like everything is still there. I mean, all the hip hop that you want and need is still there. It's just what's marketed.
You just gotta find it. Yeah, you just gotta find it.
You know, it's like
I find it all the time because I listen to a lot of different hip hop.
Yeah, you know it's like you just gotta. If that's the type of mood you want to go with, go. You can find it. It's just we can't rely on the commercial outlets to give you what you need. Not anymore. It's not. Right. It's not.
I guess what I'm saying is at one point that was what the commercial sound was, and like throughout all of the music was weaved in and out, right? And then it started to you have to go find it now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you guys have to say about that. Like, what the reason for that being there in the first place, and I don't know. Maybe you guys have something to say.
I mean, it was the reason that I think that it became big and part of the culture was because of the influence of the South. I mean, the South started to really influence the rest of the country, and as far as beats and bass and all of that. What made it go away or where it went? What's going on today is internet music. People, kids making music with their phone, putting up on SoundCloud. That wave came through, and they're not. You can't get heavy bass in when you're making a beat on your smartphone. It's kind of hard sometimes. Maybe that's my opinion. I think it's just more homemade, more beats made from phones.
It is. You're right.
Hey, that's
it all sounds the same. It all has the same tone.
Yeah, because the regions are gone too. The internet destroyed the regions of rap. We used to have West Coast, South, New York. The internet has made it all one big melted blob of fucking all the same shit, and everyone sounds the same. And it's all, no matter where you're from, you sound like this. If it's trap music, don't matter where you're from, it sounds like this. Whatever,
and everything sounds like trap now.
But again, that's if you rely on that. You go digging in the crates. You got to dig, and once you dig, you'll find what you want. You'll find
the limelight. That's what the industry's pushing right now. Is that bullshit? That's what he's talking about. Yeah, that's what he's asking about.
Yeah. That base is still there. It's just where it went away in the mainstream is you know how the corporations are. If it's not profitable for them anymore, they're gonna move on to something else that's profitable. That's just that's the nature of that beast.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said earlier, when you had the certain execs, the big cigar chomping guys, they put it out because they believed in experimental music. And that's what we need in order for hip hop to keep going. That's what we need for hip hop to expand, to get another 50 years out of it. We got to go with the experimental stuff. We can't go with the cookie cutter, the cookie cutter rhymes, the cookie cutter beats. We can't go with that. That doesn't, sampling is what kept hip hop. That's what keeps hip hop alive. That's what is hip hop's heart and soul. So like when you hear something new, people be like, well, it doesn't sound like the Baby, and he doesn't rap like Future. He doesn't have a chance. We don't want him. Back in the day, they'd be like, you know what? Put it out. Let's see what happens. Like Diggable Planets. Look, they came from nowhere. We was like, damn, but they was dope. They won a Grammy. They only put out them 2 albums and they fell off. But it was like more behind the scenes things for them. But think about it. If somebody wouldn't have took a chance and said, put that out, we would have never got it.
And it wouldn't have got Camp Low. You wouldn't have got Camp Low.
Yeah, Camp Low, another one from the Bronx. Dope. Super dope group.
Yeah,
The stuff they did with Pete Rock.
They're still making music. BG Sway got
it's
something
still
coming out.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
And it's
Snoop
just
Dogg
dope.
talked about lately. I don't know if you guys saw him. He was interviewed for something. He was saying that the reason why a lot of these people are going on strike in the acting and writing business is the same reason why the rappers and singers, especially in hip hop, might be doing the same thing, because there's so many streams that are being lost in terms of money and what they can get for the music that they're putting out there. They're not getting paid for the music that they're putting out there, like the old days when you would, hey, here's a bunch of records, you make this, you get a percentage of this and the royalties, blah blah blah. Well, it's not like that anymore, since everything's on the internet now, and it's that big glob. Things are getting streamed millions of times, but they're not getting paid millions of times.
Yeah, but it's like Napster on super steroids. They thought they got rid of the Napster guy, but actually they just took his formula and expanded it.
Made it legal. That's all.
Yeah. And then that's where you have it, where I believe now everybody's going to get more independent now. Even the writers and the actors, they're going to go to more independent projects where they don't even have to even have a union, because most of the time the unions, they also cause problems, and sometimes you just need to be in a group of like-minded people that want to create stuff together and get it out there and do it on your own and
just get it out there.
Yeah.
It's coming full circle.
But that's what Prince. That's when you listen to Prince, where he made a lot of sense. And he said that. He said after his first album, he realized how the game worked. He said, I never, ever went into the studio and made an album. I built the studio, made my own music, and then I negotiated with them. Like, well, this is what, because he said, look, if I sell 1 million albums and I get, let's say, 10 cents an album, he said, let's say I get $1.30 an album. Who's winning? Who gets most of the money? It ain't me. He said, you might think Mariah Carey signed $1 million contract, but if she sells 10 million albums, she only got $1 million. The record company made 3 times that much off of her.
Yeah.
So he said after that, he said, that's why Prince said he always did his music the way he did it. He said, because it's my music. I made it. You didn't make it, but you're not going to benefit off of it more than me.
He's the artist.
He said that 30-70 needs to be turned around to 70-30. Y'all get 30, I get 70, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And he said after his first album, he never took a record advance. He never did none of that. He said, I just made my music, did what we had to do, negotiated it, and that was it.
Yeah. And that also was like the era of like the Diddy era. After Biggie passed away, you've seen a lot of people going in that route, like building their own studio. Look at Cash Money, Master P. I mean, look, Bobby, RZA for that point. He had the mindset to say, I got my own studio, I produce it the way I want to produce it. You just press it up, and then we make a deal for these albums. You're not going to own us. We're going to make a deal as partnerships. That's when you've seen a lot of these rappers, MCs, and even going into other industries, they want to make partnerships rather than somebody owning someone else. Even with with comic books, you're gonna see it. Like even with toys, you got toy designers that work in these big brand companies. They're gonna leave and make their own. They already need to know the process and the connections. They leave these companies and make their own toys, make their own
That's what we need.
books. That's what's happening.
So we need that. Yeah, we need that. Yeah, we need that in order for it to survive.
And that's a perfect segue. I don't know if I could talk about if you're all right, be talking about the Mad Comic Lounge. What you think about that, brother?
No, that's exactly why you're here, man. So I definitely do want to hop into that, man. Segue into that, and we do got a segue. Stu, go ahead, finish your idea, bro.
Yeah, Stu, I gotta roll out, fellas.
All right, brother.
All right, great meeting.
I'm gonna be listening for Fat T, the Mad Comics Lounge. I gotta get there. I do. That is a good idea,
bro. It's dope. I wish I could go there fucking every day and chill.
I gotta shoot up there. I'm gonna shoot up there and check it out. Bring my camera, take some pictures. We're gonna do that.
Indeed.
All right, man. Be safe, bro.
All right, bro. Nice meeting you as well, man.
Man, Stu, nice
You too,
meeting
real
you.
talk.
Yeah, so the Mad Comic Lounge, did you want to say a few things, Reno, before I talk about it, or?
No, actually, no, man. Go ahead because I guess Bygone's not gonna make it. But that's all right because you are here as the ambassador.
All right.
Yeah, break it down.
I'm Fat T. I've been a madman of comics for 3 years, founded by Reno and a few other guys, and we've got other guys as part of our group now. And one of the gentlemen in our group, his name is Terrence Garrett, also known as Bygone, and this is his Instagram. And but he opened a comic shop, but it's not a comic shop. It's called the Mad Comic Lounge.
Yeah.
It is for creators and collectors. So this place is not just about comic books, but it's about getting together and having things like open mic nights. There's parties there. There's games being played there. There's comic book pulls there. The lighting inside the place is designed a certain way, such
It's
that
a dope spot.
it's just a place to hang out and talk about comics. And the thing right now is that the store has been open for a while, but is to get a membership to the Mad Comic Lounge, because being able to be a part of the family, it allows you to garner all of the elements that the Mad Comic Lounge has. It's not just about getting comics. It's about access to the Mad Comic Lounge, whether it be digitally or physically when you go there. And do I have the ability to share on this? If I go to present, will it allow me to present like something from my screen, Reno?
Do you have is there something on there that looks like you can do that?
It says present. So
okay. Yeah, that's let me see. Present.
Okay. So I'm gonna go to share screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see here. All right. Okay.
While you're doing that, what's the correct spelling of the Mad Comic Lounge Instagram?
So this is what it looks like. Does everybody see this?
Hold on, let me add it. Pink. There you go.
All
now
right.
we see it.
Okay. So this is the Mad Comic Lounge website, okay? And so if you go in, and you'll see this part where it tells you a little bit about us. And the key here is a social club for creatives and collectors to meet, greet, chill and chat, buy, trade, and sell all things collectible. This is about toys. It's about comics. It's about coffee. There's coins there. There's toys, figurines. Okay. And it gives you even the location of where it's at. You can get comic books
Which is where? Where is it?
Oh, okay. So,
okay, it's in the Poconos, right?
Let me go back to that. Let me go back to that real quick. One second here. All right, so right here, Poconos, Pennsylvania, about 3 miles from exit 309 off the 180 West. But you can see them also on Instagram at the Mad Comic Lounge. All right, so follow us at the Mad Comic Lounge, and you can also, as you're thinking about becoming a member, subscribe to the emails, because there's a lot of things coming out that by joining now, you become kind of like one of those first people, and those first 25 people are able to get access to things that, you know, the rest may not be able to later on, because those memberships are unique as a beginner, because you become the foundation of the Mad Comic Lounge family. So there's 4 levels, okay, to becoming a member of the Mad Comic Lounge. All right, so at the bronze level, and this is just, it's very affordable, $33.99. You know, you get 8 raw comic books, you get a newsletter, you get a membership card. Okay, so these are the other things that are a part of that. 10% off all the MCL that the MCL offers. This is the other thing that's super important. Discounts with affiliates. Those are other comic book shops that work with the MCL to, you know, that they sell comic books or toys, and you will get the same discounts that you get at the Mad Comic Lounge at these other locations that are connected with the Mad Comic Lounge. And that list is getting bigger and bigger. You get a birthday gift, you get 1 free entry into a monthly giveaway wheel, and you have 24-hour access to the MCL facility. All right. So you fill out all this information, and you just pay right here, and you put your card in, and it's simple. It's really as simple as that. So that's the first level of membership.
And then you get those the 8 comics. You get that. That's like a monthly thing. You pay that fee monthly.
That's right. It is
What's
monthly.
And so each one has a different level of, like, there we go, $66. This one you're gonna get 15 books. You're gonna get the
so
newsletter.
here's the next level.
15% off.
The newsletter, the membership card, instead of 10% off, now it's 15% off. Okay. Once again, the discounts, the free entry onto the giveaway wheel, 24-hour access. Okay. You get a welcome kit exclusive to the silver.
Okay.
All right.
Now, when you say raw comic books, is that the actual physical or digital or both?
No. These are actual comic books that come to your house every month in a box.
Yeah.
And when you start getting into the gold level, okay, now you get a slab every month.
Slabs.
Oh, wow.
So
It's
now you
totally
get the slab
worth it.
every month.
It is worth it. It's definitely worth
It's
it.
worth
Just
it.
for that alone.
This
All
one
the extra shit is crazy.
That's, you know, if it's depending on what the slab is, most slabs are going to run you between $50 and $70. But if it's something special, and the thing is, the higher the level, you're going to get something more special for that. And so if you look at that one, not only do you get that, you get the 1 graded comic book, you get 10 raw instead of the 15, but you're getting that graded comic book, the newsletter, the membership card. Now it's 20% off of everything. All right. You think about that 20%, that is a huge amount, because, you know, if you had, you know, I don't know, like $100 book that you want, now it's only 80, or, you know, a $50 book that you wanted. Now it's, you know, well, what would that be? $40, you know? So you get that birthday gift, the free entry. We also sell t-shirts. That's another part of this that's going to be coming up. We have a Mad Men of Comics and Mad Comic Lounge t-shirt that's coming up. Okay. And here is the highest level, and this is an important one, because with the platinum level, it's $132.99 a month, but you are a part of not only the, you know, getting all these perks and the increased percentage off. Now you are
like an investor.
you're now an investor where you're going to get a kickback it's almost like what do you call that? Like a not a five a 401k. You're going to get a kickback. So how the store does, you're going to do. So there's a certain percentage kickback depending on how many people are in that platinum level, where not only are you going to get the one graded comic book, now you're getting 15 raw comic books, the newsletter, the membership card. Now it's 25% off all that the MCL offers. Okay, the birthday gift, the free entry into the monthly giveaway wheel. So there's a tremendous amount that is here for the average person. It also sells. We have action figures that are going to be for sale. I know a lot of people collect toys.
Okay.
There's only just a few things that are up here right now, and it's going to be more and more. Comic books that we have, obviously graded books. There's stores exclusives, and there's stands as well. These particular book stands are designed by Malverde. Malverde. The full name, Malverde Designs, and they are spectacular. They are well made. They can hold up your slab, and they have glow in the dark. They have just all the shapes of your favorite comics, along with the books themselves. So all of these things are part of the Mad Comic Lounge, and we're going to start showing up at Comic Cons and things more and more, and we're going to be putting out original comics as well as exclusives that are done by original artists.
Okay.
It is the wave of the future when it comes to comic book buying and selling and being entertained by that, environment. So anybody who would like to get a membership, to go to the madcomiclounge.com and take a look at everything, and it'd be a huge opportunity for you that you really shouldn't pass up, because once it's past those first 25, the opportunity for investment does go down a bit.
Can I ask you a question now? With the membership levels, can you always upgrade? Let's say your budget at this point in time is at a certain budget,
Yes.
And then you go in. Can you always upgrade to the next level?
To my knowledge, the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
I don't know, like if you started at the bronze level, and let's say a year from now you jumped into the platinum level. If there was already a ton of people on the platinum, yeah, you'll be at the platinum level. But in terms of the investment,
okay,
and being able to be an investor, you probably would not have that opportunity. But the thing is that there's always new things coming out that are being offered, especially to the people that are in that platinum level. Mm-hmm. So those newer things you would be have an opportunity to experience.
Okay.
Yeah. Black Hero Club asked, are you guys co-owners? No, we are not. I am not a co-owner, but I am a platinum member. I am the first paying platinum member, but there is another member who is considered the first member. So officially, I am the second member besides him and the owner. Like I said, the owner's name is Terrence Garrett, who's also known as Bygone, and you can follow the Mad Comic Lounge on Instagram, or follow bygone.ai at Instagram. And this is Fat T, yo.
All right. Man.
What up, Tim? What's good? Tim Stacy in the building. Hip Hop 50, man. We just pretty much chopped up the whole hip hop anniversary. We talked about that for a good hour and a half. But we definitely got to segue because I wanted to talk about, it's crazy that it's also 1973 is the 50th anniversary of Enter the Dragon. You know what I'm saying? For all my Bruce Lee fans out there.
I love that movie.
Fuck yeah, bro. Fucking, you know what I'm saying? Call it a bittersweet anniversary, but it is the month. You know what I'm saying? Or rather, it is a cool coincidence, man, that Bruce Lee and hip hop you know, kind of came onto the scene because Bruce Lee has a lot of parallels, in my opinion, with hip hop and that culture and that kind of thing. You know, and Enter the Dragon was a definitely a Barbenheimer like phenomenon that made San Francisco native and martial arts powerhouse Bruce Lee internationally famous. Totally like an icon, and you know, unfortunately he died before it hit the theaters, but that kind of made it like this legendary status already. So Bruce Lee like started as a fucking legend, and I remember that shit, bro, when I was a little kid in the 80s. And that he had already been around for a minute, you know what I mean? Like, or you know, he had been gone for a minute, for a decade, you know, a little decade. And then I was like, oh, he died? Like, that was crazy to me. But yeah, Enter the Dragon, man. A James Bondian martial arts extravaganza with it kind of set the you know how like that whole thing of like a tournament of all the greatest fighters from around the world.
Right. Kumite fights.
All that shit came out of Enter the Dragon. You know, Enter the Dragon was the beginning of all that shit. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, all of that kind of, it's all Enter the Dragon, bro. And
they all have characters that look like Bruce.
They all have a Bruce, right? Yep. They all have a, I mean, and Warner Brothers and Hong Kong studio Golden Harvest, co-starring Jim Kelly. You had John Saxton. It cost them about $850,000 to make this movie and came back with $400 million in the box office and counting. So the film is back in theaters, actually, across the Bay Area, courtesy of Fathom Events for screenings on August 13th and Wednesday, August 16th. So if you're in the Bay Area, Fat T, you can see that shit in the theater.
Man, I just love the acting in that film, especially I think it was Saxton. He was, you know, how do I explain it? He just always kind of played just things really cool and stuff, and you know, would always get the girl kind of, but he was like the older guy as well, and
right.
I always hated the fact in that movie, I know it's going to sound ridiculous, but that the girl that he wanted to be with and he was going to save her and, you know, and get off that island, you know, she ends up dying and stuff. And I was like, man, that really sucks.
Yeah. That did.
Yeah. That, like you were saying, it's like a James Bondish type movie. It's like you see Jim Kelly, you see Saxton, and you see Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the whole embodiment of James Bond. They're different.
Claw guy, right?
And, you know, and
each one of them is like a different aspect of James Bond.
Yeah.
That's real.
Cool, you know.
You ever notice that claw looks like Wolverine's claws? I wonder if they got it from that.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, that movie really inspired, bro. The action genre, fucking martial arts, everything.
Sure, you know, hip hop music, the soundtrack alone, it's like,
yes. The impact is
down, you know.
It's hard to overstate, man. You know what I'm saying? Not only was that the iconic poster, a ubiquitous accessory in all young teenage boys' bedrooms, but the martial arts participation in the United States exploded from a couple of few, maybe a million to around like 40 million. Because martial arts was not something that, for me. Okay, so like when all the other kids was in football practice and soccer practice and all of that, I was in martial arts. My mom had me in martial arts since the kindergarten, right, and all the way up, and so that was always just my world. But it was not common before that, you know what I'm saying, in the United States for people to be learning martial arts, bro. That was kind of like Bruce Lee kind of made that shit happen. There was a few people that knew judo and shit like that, and guys in the military and things like that. But as far as a karate school popping up on every corner, Cobra Kai, Karate Kid, all of that shit.
Yeah.
It didn't exist, bro, before Bruce Lee, man. It didn't exist before this movie.
What happened in our neighborhood, because at one point everybody was wearing zips. Zips was the shit, because zips make you run faster, especially if you're a fat kid like me.
Oh, okay.
But all of a sudden, the guy I was telling you about that liked to do all the round table scratching, all that stuff, and the music, all of a sudden he comes down the street one time and he's wearing China flats. And there was this other kind too, but I don't remember what those were called. Anyway, they were so cool looking, but it was after the Bruce Lee movie that China flats and wearing your socks higher and all that stuff, that started becoming a style. And so I was like begging my mom, I need to get some China flats. I need to get some China flats. And, so it's like everybody started wearing China flats in the neighborhood. And, and
that's crazy.
We, pretend we were kicking each other's ass and stuff and getting in trouble.
I remember that.
But it was awesome. I mean, China flats for at least, whatever amount of period of time. And I didn't even see the movie as a kid because I wasn't allowed to see it. But, hey, Mike had China flats, so I was going to get myself some China flats.
Yeah,
man. It was big. It was big.
And then Bolo True Young was in it, and he was in Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Yeah, bro. Man, what happened to that guy is sad, bro. He live a sad life now. Yeah, look it up, Bolo, bro. It's messed up. But yeah, man, it was that whole era, man, changed the culture, bro. I remember cats running around with fucking Bruce Lee shoes on and shit, and everybody was doing flips and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was just
hip hop. Last Dragon, major,
bro, my favorite shit, bro. Bro, one of my favorite shits right there. Showed enough right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, that Bruce Leroy shit was fucking. That shit really changed the game, bro. We was all, man, and of course Bruce Lee had movies before Enter the Dragon, which I had the whole collection. You know what I'm saying? He had Fist of Fury. He had Chinese Connection, right? The Big Boss, Return of the Dragon, and then that travesty that they put together.
The Game of Death.
Yeah, but you know what? Speaking of Game of Death, there is a dope fucking documentary out. It's about 4 hours long, bro, and it talks all about the Game of Death and has like 2 hours of extra footage that has never been seen. You know what I'm saying? And just shit of Bruce, working out the scenes and all of that. And it breaks down that movie. The film that if you go and get the VHS Game of Death is very different. The whole idea about it's different. Everything about it's different. His plan for that movie would have been fucking dope, bro. Watch the documentary. It breaks down, like, you get the storyboard. They show like the scenes and everything, and like, he was gonna be. And that's another thing again that influenced the video game culture, action culture. I mean, the levels of the pagoda, each level having a different master. I mean, Mortal Kombat, the fucking pagoda. It's blatant, man. It's like there's no fucking. Kareem was in it too. Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, he was
big.
Game of Death. Yeah,
and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's character influenced the Terminator. Arnold Schwarzenegger with the gargoyles, the emotionless guy with this behind the sunglasses that fucking was just this emotionless, being or whatever, big giant guy, totally inspired by that movie. So.
And when Bruce knocked his glasses off, his actual eyes glowed in the
red.
The red eye. In the film you're talking about, that documentary, it broke down a lot. His philosophy, his Jeet Kune Do philosophy, and discipline. So
yeah, you saw the documentary. It's on. I think it's.
I got that joint, man.
Yeah, bro.
Definitely a Bruce Lee fanatic.
Yeah, like I said, man, in martial arts, it's kindergarten. So that was my whole. I got right here on my desk.
Every line from Enter the Dragon, I dig it. Yeah.
There was this guy in our neighborhood. My friend's name was Chris Castillo, and his brother was he was only like 10. His brother was like 18 or 19. His bedroom was flush with Bruce Lee stuff. But not only the posters and all that stuff, dude. He had nunchucks, he had throwing stars, throwing knives, he had butterfly knives, he had all of the
there you go
weapons that this dude had. But not only did he have all that, I
made that
able to do the nunchucks, like, I mean, obviously, but he was able to do like a lot of that stuff. And I mean, as for a kid to see somebody in actuality do that, it made me even more of a fan of Bruce Lee. I mean, what did they say about Bruce Lee's quickness? Something like his quickness was like, I don't know, something like 100, like hundreds of seconds faster than like anybody's ever been recorded, or some crazy number like that. Like his quickness was like you couldn't compare it.
And then he also changed the nunchuck. First, he said it was restrictive because of the chain. He made
it longer.
Yeah, he made it into a speed chuck. Now we got speed chucks.
Yep. Have you ever noticed Bruce Lee when he using nunchucks in the movie? Next time you watch it, check it out. The string between his two sticks is about like twice the length of a normal nunchuck. And even when he's fighting someone else, they got the normal ones and he got the long ones. And he invented that shit, bro. He invented MMA. I mean, he's the godfather of MMA. The whole concept of mixing martial arts was Jeet Kune Do. That was his concept. That was Bruce Lee's whole fucking philosophy, man. Was leaving the style, leaving the tradition behind, and adapting to whatever you're dealing with. It was silly to stick to kung fu forms if you're fighting a fucking wrestler. You know what I mean? You're gonna get your ass beat. Someone is, But of course, Lee made movies, like I said before. He had all those. He was born in San Francisco, though, in 1940. Like, he's born in the United States. He grew up in Hong Kong, became a teen star, little kid in the movies, and his family sent him back to San Francisco in 1958, where he later lived in Seattle and Oakland before he tried his luck in Hollywood. And there he got his start as Kato. You know what I'm saying? Green Hornet, comic books again. Shout out to the and it was an ABC TV series. They Hollywood was crazy racist and shit back then. Had to keep the mask on, that kind of thing. Would never get a main role or anything that. Yeah, and after small parts opposite Dean Martin in Wrecking Crew in 1968 and James Garner in Marlowe in 1969, he returned to Hong Kong and became an instant star. Blew up, fucking huge. Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon were monumental hits over there, bro. From 71 to 72, and that paved the way for what would be his Hollywood breakthrough in Enter the Dragon in 73, 50 years ago. And yeah, man. I mean, his cultural impact again is it reminds me of things like James Dean and Tupac, and you know what I mean, like Jim Morrison. Shit like that. That's definitely
just legendary.
Yeah. A once in a lifetime event, a person or that soul. That's
soul. Right.
Yeah.
I found a cool picture of him from 1958 when he first came back to the United States, and I had not like seen this before in any like documentaries, because I've seen every like Bruce documentary. I mean, you name it. But yeah, this was pretty cool. If you're a big fan, let me show you.
Oh yeah,
young Bruce. Yeah,
and he's an accomplished dancer too. He can dance his ass off too. Talking about dancing.
Yeah, a big time dancer. Yeah, I mean, you know, martial arts dancing is very, you know, it's physical body shit. But yeah, just like Dean, you know, James Dean, his fame never really diminishes. His films are still widely watched. Books are still being written about him. Documentaries still being made about him. His daughter on Instagram, I follow her. She's dope, always posting shit.
Yeah.
She's cool as hell.
And he influenced a lot of people. Like whenever you see a movie and somebody's fighting and they do this, that's all Bruce.
Oh yeah.
That's shout out to Bruce.
Anything fucking
yeah, man. And he got the Warrior on Max now, the Warrior.
Yeah.
Show from his writings.
Yeah, dog. And that show is
the name of that show?
It's called Warrior.
It's it's a movie or like a
show. It's a series that he basically is based on his, you know, his notes, his idea of his concept. Yeah. He made this character Assam, and Assam was supposed to be the show Kung Fu, that David Carradine bullshit that they did, which you probably saw in the movie Dragon about Bruce Lee, but they show that he was going to, him and the producers had came up with this idea for a show that eventually became Kung Fu, and they did not use Bruce Lee because they did not want a Chinese lead and all of that. Like I said, racist Hollywood and all of that. So the notes, the original show that really was going to be made was Warrior. That was the show that they came up with. What became Kung Fu and all of that later was like developed, you know, from out of that. But the original show was Warrior. This is the original show that his idea, his concept was going to be about a Chinese guy who came to the Old West and had to deal with, you know, shit that goes on in the Old West. And with Chinese people and the railroads and the whole, that whole culture, that, you know, it was a crazy, you know, a lot of crazy ass time and a crazy, you know, a lot of shit to get into. I'll say like that. The show's pretty good. It's decent. The guy that's playing Assam is pretty cool. I can't front. The show's not bad at all. I think, you know, it would have been cooler if Bruce Lee really had finished it. It probably would make more sense and stuff like that, but it's pretty good for what it is.
Well, this is a perfect time to say, why the hell can't Marvel make a regular show in this, which really is connected to kind of some stuff from his notes, can come out so much better.
Yeah.
What is the deal with Marvel movies, even DC movies? I don't know what, you know, what the problem is with these hero movies, but it's like they're getting stale, stagnant, poor, man.
Well, if you think about it, if you know, when you read your comic books, what is the primary the objective for the villain and objective for the hero? To the villain to take over the world, the hero to stop that villain, right? So that it's all formulaic. It's just how you get the little parts and make those parts interesting, the personality parts. I think with these new movies, they lack delving into the personality parts more so than just say, hey, here's the formula. We'll go with the formula and put some special effects behind it, and we're good money. That's not the case. People are thinking more.
Yeah. You have to care about characters. You have to care about.
Thank you.
They have to be. A character has to be. They have to be alive. They have to be. They have to represent.
Yeah.
You know, if they're
be relatable.
They need to be relatable, viable. you know.
Mhm.
And the only way you do that is through their relationships. You got to spend time. You watch just the original Star Wars film, okay, which is episode 4. And, you know, yeah, there's a lot of action and things like that in there, but you look at the time they spent with developing something as simple as Han Solo's relationship to Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker's relationship to Darth
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. They took time to develop that because it makes you care about what's happening and the underlying thing that they're fighting for.
Yep.
It's like you can't just, oh, the universe is opening up. Oh, it's got some holes in it. Let's go fly through some holes. Oh, now we've got to sew them shut. It just.
And even going back to Bruce Lee, you can relate to his because look, Chinese Connection, it was lost. His master, his mentor, and he seen that he was unjustly murdered and people couldn't see, but he saw because he was an outsider coming back, and he saw things wasn't right. And then he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna handle this now. You guys, but I can see, and I'm gonna handle it." You know, you can feel that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Meteor Man 30th anniversary. DC's got some 30th anniversary stuff going on too. But back to but I just want to say because Bruce because Fatsy mentioned the show or them doing a show. There's an anime. It's called House of Lee about Bruce Lee. That just put out the trailer. We can watch that here in a second. And as reported by Deadline, the preview is directed by Emily Yang, co-founder of the content platform Shibuya. So, according to a synopsis, the project is an action fantasy series that sees Bruce Lee fighting to assemble his dragon warriors before the world plunges too far into darkness and shadow. End quote. And that's going to take inspiration from Lee's quote, "Those who are unaware they are walking in darkness will never seek the light." And a full trailer will release later this year to coincide with the 50th anniversary of Enter the Dragon. You know what I'm saying? Sometime this maybe 2024. But the
what was the name of that?
House of Lee.
House of Lee.
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Boom. Where is it at? There it is.
You were talking about it showing up next year or something.
Watch. Yeah, so this is the trailer. And I'm gonna keep the mute, you know, so we don't have to get shut off by BoobTube and YouTube. But yeah, it's pretty dope.
The anime is tough.
Yeah, the animation's crazy. The style's cool. Looks like very unique. Doesn't look like anything else I've seen before. But yet it kind of has that vibe of like cool 80s anime in a cool way.
It does. It reminds. I was just gonna say that. What was that thing they used to put on? Oh God, it was. They always used to put it on during Beavis and Butthead. They would do outtakes on it. It was this girl, and she was
Aeon Flux.
Aeon Flux.
Aeon Flux.
Yeah.
Television, yeah.
Aeon Flux.
Yeah, shout out to Shannon Lee, man.
I'm down for that show.
Hell yeah, bro. Shannon Lee is his daughter, sister of Brandon Lee. But she has, like I said, she's got a dope Instagram page called Bruce Lee. And it's got the blue check on it. So, and then this is the YouTube channel, Bruce Lee. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. And she takes care of his legacy. She's awesome.
So good. Yeah, she definitely does. She really does hold it down for Pops. And but yeah, the series so she has become a producer in her own right. She said anime is an amazing medium for telling a truly creative story where Bruce Lee can be Bruce Lee. She said of this project, she said, "I'm so excited for the possibilities for action, fantasy, history, culture, and creativity within this medium." And this reminds me and Raw Talk, you saw the documentary, and they talk a lot about Bruce Lee's philosophy and him making more metaphysical type of movies and more existential what's the word, abstract type films and stuff like that.
Yes,
I think this is definitely where she's going with that. She partnered with Shibuya for this, and based on the company's previous animated short White Rabbit. She said, I love Emily and Shibuya's perspective. She said they're such creative, hardworking, skilled artists with amazing brand. I just knew that they would be perfect collaborators. The organic way it all came together spoke volumes of our potential collaboration. It's been great. And Yang herself described that what drew her, to the project. She said, I found myself immediately resonating with the narrative as it touches on themes of spirituality, the battle against your inner demons, and so many aspects of the AAPI experience. She said, it's been such a personal story. Shannon wanted to really retain creative control and ownership. And at Shibuya, our mission is to help creators do just that. And I knew this was something that we had to be a part of. End quote.
Nice.
And Shannon, sorry, my bad. Go ahead, bro.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say Shannon Lee is also executive producer on the Warrior show.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. She's doing her thing, and it's like with her father, his main thing was self-realization. If once you know who you are and know the truth within yourself, everything is clear as day. It's easy. Just know yourself. That's the main point of martial arts. Once you know your capability and who you are in yourself, everything you can handle. That's it. Yeah.
Everything falls into place.
Yes.
Yep. Everything. Yeah, man. So that's a cool what do you call it? I don't know, like parallel with the 50th anniversary of hip hop. But there was also a DC has a 30th anniversary of something. I was trying to remember what it was, but I can't really remember. But
you see how hard it is to remember anything from DC?
Yeah, man.
I mean,
that'll change.
The first reaction for Blue Beetle are out.
You can always remember Batman.
It's all some 30th something from DC.
It's like something, I don't know. But anyway, but the fans and influencers are tweeting their impressions of the Blue Beetle movie. And it's surprisingly solid. I think it looks like a good superhero origin story with a good cast. Looks pretty good. Plenty of heart and humor and warm embrace of the Latin culture is definitely I think coming across. And a new, the Blue Beetle's not very like a big well-known type of character, but he's got the superpower from the armor that comes from his interaction with this alien scarab. But it's the first DC film to center on a Latino superhero, and the second to last project from the old DCEU.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is going to hurt it. This is what I think is going to hurt this movie, and also Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, is that people know it's not going anywhere. They know there's not going to be any more movies. They know that this is the end of that, that world, that universe, that shared, universe. And James Gunn and Peter Safran are starting a whole new, the DCU. It's not the DCEU anymore. So it's a different vibe. And so I think people going in to see this movie aren't going to care as much. A lot of people just aren't going to bother seeing it, stuff like that. So it will hurt it a little bit, which is sad. But James Gunn is telling people to see it, and he's telling people that, I don't know, from what I'm gathering, Blue Beetle, I think this actor is going to show up down the road in some of James Gunn's stuff.
I absolutely believe that it will.
Yeah. And I watched The Flash. I enjoyed The Flash, honestly.
Me too.
I enjoyed it.
I just don't like Ezra Miller's performance, but other than that, it was cool. But I couldn't stand him, bro. He was unwatchable.
He was always a nervous type of crazy looking guy, but
Barry Allen ain't like that.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, what is this? It's not Barry Allen, bro. Barry Allen don't act like that.
But
what's that for 155? I
think their main mistake. I know they were top heavy on their budgets and the salaries of the actors, wanting more for the film. For their films, but their worst mistake was getting rid of Henry Cavill.
Oh yeah.
I think he was our
yeah.
Christopher Reeve for this time. He was that
Yep.
guy.
Yep.
You know? And once you cut him out, it leads everybody else in limbo. Like now they don't want to do the project with anybody new because they had a chemistry with him,
Yep.
on set and stuff like that. There's a lot of behind the scenes that a lot of corporations don't take into account. You know what I mean? They don't take into account that chemistry between stars and how they work together, and I think it's going to bite them in the ass, like you say, I think it's going to hurt them and, maybe, and we're the last of the collectors and the people who love those films truly and understand the characters. Our children, they're off on something different. They're in their own, they like the Spider-Verse styles of things.
Right.
Interpretation. But we're stuck in our generational way we like things. And I think they're cutting that away, and we're primarily the ones who's spending for this stuff.
And that is more the truth than you know. I mean, I've been teaching 4th, 5th grade for 25 years. And these kids, technology is their medium. That is their medium. Mine was I had to do shit out of a book. And I read stuff out of a book. I think the kids still kind of like reading novels and stuff like that. But when it comes to their free time, their fun is not going outside from dawn to dusk. It's sitting inside and linking with people on the internet dawn to dusk. Why do they have to do any exercise when they can sit down and, do everything electronically? So that is how they get all of their stuff. That's how they connect to the world. So everything you're saying is 100% right, which is why the Spider-Man movie got the rave accolades that it did, because it was the first time, in my opinion, where they combined the abstract with the real, and the story made everything come out so beautifully. The new Miles film. So yeah, you're just going to see more and more of that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna try to. Fatty, I see you got some Blue Beetle comics.
Dude, I've got the full set Infinite Crisis thesis, all the Jim Lee covers.
Jim Lee is my favorite, bro. My favorite.
This is for $155 for the full set. Plus, you have the first solo series. This is the rarest of the 3. This is the second print. You can see it's like gray in color. These are all Near Mint Plus condition. So if you're interested, I have them for sale on my my eBay page under Fat T's Comics and Coins. Or you can get a hold of me, DM me on Instagram, and follow me there, Fat T's Comics and Coins. Or Fat T SO22.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
155.
Those are dope, y'all. And then value might go up on those when that movie comes out, so you might want to get them while you can. This is the last trailer they did.
Down in this film.
Yeah,
I think they will break it down. How he came. Oh, there you go. Oh, nice custom.
Yeah.
Is that your $300 toy?
No. This right here. This is y'all seen the Cobra Bat. This is the Cobra Bat, but he customized it to look like Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So he's the Boba Bat. I had to get it, bro. I had to get it. I was like,
I dig it.
Boba Bat. Yeah.
It's definitely
Boba Bat.
What happened to your pinky, bro?
I just don't know whether to put him on the G.I. Joe shelf or the Star Wars shelf. Maybe it'll be on my desk. Pinky, I broke chasing the dog. I was jumping to grab the leash. I dove on the ground. Fucking my whole body weight just snapped it. Shit was like Denzel Washington, bro. Just 90-degree angle. I fucking straightened it myself, set it, and fucking went to the ER. Yeah, it sucked. It's still fucked up, bro. It ain't. it ain't healing right, bro. I'm probably going to have to get surgery on the shit. It's not a good fucking. Yeah, it's not good.
You're a graphic designer as well. Am I correct?
Carapax. No, well, not professionally or anything. No, I mean, I'm an artist. I'm an artist, but I do all kinds of shit. But no, I'm not a professional.
Because I know sometimes that shit hinders movement. Right. You want to do certain shit, man. Even if you producing beats and you need to pound out the key. Yeah.
If I had to play piano or anything, but no, I don't have to do anything like that. My job is all based on I wear a headset and talk to people on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Deal with computer shit, insurance and shit like that.
All right.
Well, Reno, I gotta get rolling, buddy.
Yeah, we're gonna end it up, man. We're gonna close it down right now. It's been a dope show, guys.
Wow.
Yeah. Carapax is the Blue Beetle enemy that you're asking about.
Carapax.
Yeah, man, y'all already know how we do it every Monday, every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This Monday, we got my man Jorge Medina, is a indie comic fucking creator. Brilliant shit. He's gonna be on Monday, chopping it up with us. So y'all already know every Monday, every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys, man. Raw Talk, Fat T, for coming on, man.
For sure. Really having me, man. This is pretty cool. And when I stumbled upon your thing, I was like, Sixth Element. I was like, oh yeah. And then I started listening to them. I was like, okay, yeah, I vibe with these guys. These guys definitely on it.
Then you gotta answer this question.
Anytime.
Raw Talk, you gotta answer this question. Then, what is the sixth element of hip hop?
Comic books, baby.
Yeah.
I'm just testing you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but I appreciate it. And nice to meet you finally in the flesh, like so to speak.
Anytime, man. Listen, like this is how I want to start doing this show. I want to start having, like, instead of just an interview with a one-on-one guest, I want all kinds of people. I want to have as many people on as once as I can. Everybody chiming in, everybody having ideas, and just having a big entertaining conversation, because people like to watch that, man. And it's entertaining when you got 6-7 different points of view. As long as we're not arguing, yelling, and talking over each other, which I think I do really good keeping it managed.
Definitely.
So
I like that.
Yeah. So I think we're going to start doing more of these. And I want to invite people to be on the show. Like, if you're watching the show right now, check me out on Instagram at 6th_element_of_hip_hop. 6th Element Hip Hop, separated by underscores, right?
And don't forget to visit the Mad Comic Lounge and get your membership. The lowest, only $33, guys, and you get some amazing things. And yes, you can move up.
Cool.
All right, man. Check it out. All right, y'all. Thank you for coming again, man. We'll see you guys Monday, 7 p.m. Peace.
Safe.